The year is 2478, roughly 70 years since the events of Captain America, the end of the first Avenger. Decades ago, the heroic team known as the Space Avengers helped broker peace between warring alien empires, the Eclipse Unit. Must reform under the shadow of their past mistakes. Once hailed as the Space Avengers, the 5 members split after a disastrous mission that doomed an entire planet, which takes place in 1945. So it's kind of a weird gap there. This is not the first time we've done something like this. We did something similar with our Super Soldier Origins series, where we had those stories take place during the early 1900s. These are the 5 surviving members of the outlawed Eclipse Unit, once known as the Space Avengers. There's Captain Eva Bellaris, a hardened veteran of countless battles, haunted by the mistakes of her past. A distress call from the Assembly requesting the Eclipse Unit's assistance has reached her through a secret contact. Their ship is damaged, and they are reforced to make an emergency landing on the very planet they were sent to defend. Meanwhile, back at the crash site, Joe discovers evidence that someone else was on board the ship with them. Who could it be? And what do they want with the Eclipse Unit? But upon emerging from the crash site, they discover that they're not alone. A small contingent of Cynian soldiers led by the implacable General Rylan are already there. But Zeraxis insists that they must finish what they started all those years ago, claiming that it's the only way to save the galaxy. Soon, he and his soldiers are upon them, weapons blazing. The 2 sides fight fiercely, but Eva and the others are ultimately victorious, though not without sacrifice. We worked really hard on this one, and we're super proud of it. So let us know what you think. Also, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe because we've got lots more exciting stuff coming up in the future, including the next installments of Space Avengers and Marvel's Voices. Until next time, thanks for watching. In the end, Zeraxis is consumed by the weapon, using their last moments to apologize for all the pain they've caused and for manipulating the Eclipse Unit once again. And then the weapon explodes, consuming the entire planetoid and leaving behind a bright, beautiful nebula. Eva understands, though, that this is just another ruse to manipulate them into doing their bidding. But she also knows that Zeraxis is right. Unless the weapon is destroyed, the entire Vega Nebula will be consumed, causing untold damage to the surrounding star systems. She tells the others that they have no choice but to trust Zeraxis, at least temporarily. And together they work to stabilize the weapon and reroute its power to prevent it from going supernova. They too have answered the Assembly's call, and they mean to capture the outlaws, dead or alive. The terms are simple. If they can stop the weapon, their charges will be dropped, and they'll receive a hero's welcome. But for Eva, the victory is bittersweet. Though she and her friends are free, they're forever changed by their experiences. Eva decides to leave the Nightfall and settle down on the nearby planet, hoping to one day find peace. The rest of the unit, meanwhile, go their separate ways, each haunted by the ghosts of their past. But if they fail, the Assembly will deploy a task force to capture them, dead or alive. Working together, they manage to defeat the creatures and press on until finally reaching the weapon's core. But they're not the only ones who have found it. Zeraxis explains their plan to use the weapon to consume dying stars, a seemingly selfless act meant to save countless lives. But the test run goes horribly wrong, causing the deaths of billions and permanently damaging the psyche of one of the heroes. Branded as the galaxy's mightiest traitor, the surviving 4 turn on their comrade, stripping them of their powers and banishing them to the remote planetoid as punishment. But even this isn't enough for the other heroes. They demand that their names be cleared and that Zeraxis be imprisoned. But their commanding officer refuses, believing that Zeraxis is truly sorry and that they deserve a second chance. Outraged, the 4 storm out, vowing never to return. A mysterious cloaked figure stands before them, watching as the countdown ticks ever closer to 0. Knowing that their enemies would stop at nothing to destroy them, Eva and her team prepare for one last stand. Eva demands that he stand down, reminding him that they're on the same side, but Rylan is having none of it. He opens fire, forcing Eva to blast him down in self-defense. With the general out of the picture, the figure turns, revealing themselves to be Zeraxis, the being responsible for creating the weapon. But why? What is their connection to the Eclipse Unit's past? Can they be stopped? Major Kenji Tanaka, the stoic Signarian warrior whose people have long sought revenge against the disgraced heroes. Commander Josefina Joe Cortez, a genius engineer and pilot whose brilliance belies a deeply troubled mind. And the twins, Siren and Corsair Vance, conjoined twin sisters who possess telepathic abilities and a mysterious connection to the cosmos. It's been 60 years since these five were disgracefully discharged from active duty, branded as traitors and outlaws across the galaxy. Yet their leader, Eva, still holds out hope that one day they'll be cleared of all charges and their true heroism will be recognized. But she knows that day is not today. With their resources dwindling, they can do nothing but watch as their greatest enemies prepare for war. But don't worry, the plan is to eventually bridge that gap and explain how we got from the 1940s to the present day. Unbeknownst to the assembled leaders, the explosion of the defense platform has triggered a chain reaction, reactivating an ancient weapon capable of consuming entire star systems and converting them into pure energy. The only thing standing between the galaxy and total annihilation is a single defense platform orbiting a remote and uninhabited planetoid. And the clock is already ticking. Don't really have anything concrete yet, but rest assured that I am working on it. Now, with the weapons countdown ticking and alien empires circling like vultures, they must overcome internal rifts, political sabotage, and cosmic anomalies to stop the weapon from destroying everything in its path. And along the way, uncover the identity of their mysterious foe, Zeraxis, born inside a collapsing quasar, ushering humanity's Earth into an unprecedented era of prosperity by joining the Interstellar Assembly, an alliance of species dedicated to maintaining peace and order across the galaxy. But now, this hard-won coalition is teetering on the brink of collapse. When an ancient cosmic weapon capable of folding entire star systems into oblivion is accidentally reactivated near the Vega Nebula. The Assembly's elite strike force, this nebula is home to a number of volatile phenomena, including a gigantic black hole and several unstable quasars, one of which goes by the name Devourer. As the assailants close in on the platform, one of them initiates a self-destruct, causing a massive explosion that throws them all clear. Luckily, the platform was empty, its crew having long evacuated through the gateway. But the attack has been witnessed by many, including General Alaric Rylan of the Signarian Empire, who suspects the work of a terrorist cell at Space Avengers. Eclipse Protocol, coming soon from Subatomic Studios. Okay, so this story takes place about 7 decades prior to when we last saw Captain America in the first Captain America movie. So the story kicks off with a bang, literally as an unknown assailant is attacking the orbiting defense platform guarding the gateway to the Vega Nebula. Meanwhile, on a remote jungle moon, 5 figures are watching the attack unfold on a hidden monitor. But the peace won't last for long. As the 5 assemble in their hidden base, Eva reveals their new mission. As they approach the lonely outpost in their ship, the nightfall, they find themselves caught in a violent spatial anomaly. Realizing that they need to move quickly, Eva and the others set off into the desolate landscape, dodging Rylan's soldiers while searching for the weapon. Making their way through the harsh landscape, the group is beset by increasingly dangerous creatures, warped by the planet's unique environment. But before the figure can reveal themselves, Rylan arrives with his soldiers, weapons drawn. Flashing back to 60 years prior, we see the weapon fully operational, being tested by Zeraxis and a group of 5 specially selected heroes. Back in the present, Zeraxis explains that they never asked to be freed, but their efforts are soon discovered by Joe, who alerts the others. Rylan has recovered and rallied his forces. With the threat over, the remaining members of the Eclipse Unit are finally cleared of all charges and celebrated as heroes. So yeah, that's Space Avengers, Eclipse Protocol. Hopefully you enjoyed the story.